An absolutely horrible terror attack was just carried out, and I hope that the media talks about it. But it was targeting a fertility clinic, and it was in California, and so I don't know if it's gonna count. I don't know if that's big enough, even though the political objective is very clear. But anyway, we wanna talk about it, about what we know about the suspect, why it was done, the results of it. We can actually show some B-roll, I think, of what actually happened here. You can see the devastation that was wrought by the bomb. It was a car bombing. Fortunately, the only person to have died was the alleged perpetrator. 4 other people were injured. It was a significant bomb. They have since been released from the hospital. So that's better than perhaps one could have hoped for an event like this. All the staff of the clinic, the embryos inside were left unharmed. But we do want to talk about the bombing and what we know about this individual. So the assistant director of the FBI's LA field office said this is probably the largest bombing scene that we've had in Southern California. It's very significant, very scary. And here is a photo of the suspect, Guy Edward Bartkus. He apparently had nihilistic ideations and had specifically targeted the clinic. Officials called the bombing an act of terrorism and said they're examining writings that could be related to the attack, which happened on Saturday. And some of the product of those writings we are learning about. On a website that promotes the idea of terminating life, an audio recording features a man who said he was gonna bomb an IV fertilization clinic because he was angry at his own existence. The father of the accused said he believes that the voice on the recording was actually his son. And so what's this website about? Seems weird, definitely is. Ideas espoused on the website about plans to bomb an IVF clinic are associated with an obscure movement that both promotes death and discourages creation of new life. This is according to an academic who studies this movement, says within this movement, IVF is certainly disfavored, but so is procreative sex. You could just not do it. You don't have to try to murder people for doing their job, murder people for trying to help out couples who are trying to conceive. We are surrounded by many different forms of devastating violent madness. Thankfully, in this case, it was relatively feckless. Still terrifying, to damage the building and everything, but the important thing is that everyone else survived. Jared, what do you make of this?
Yeah, in this particular case, good thing that no one was harmed. Again, I said outside of the suspect. But this is what terrorism does. Now, folks who work at other IVF clinics or anything else that can be misconstrued as something that's coming for certain people's lives. Because again, back to what we talked about earlier in the show with this Trump family, it's just politics. So when politics leads to terrorism, homegrown American terrorism, what are we gonna do about it? Where's Pam Bondi? Where's Kash Patel's ass at? Where are they gonna start cracking down on all the things that harm Americans? Which Americans? Are there certain Americans that you only care about? Because ones that you deem worthy of protection? Because this guy talked about how he's making America great again. And we've got more bombings from terrorists that believe the things that you said vehemently and talk about how evil and hateful and destructive these people are that have nothing to do with any of these other folks' lives. Are we gonna start studying as to why we like to have homegrown terrorists like this? Are there tattoos on this guy's knuckles that have something to do with bombing IVF clinics? Maybe we should send him off to some prison in El Salvador because there's terrorists that are running around in our streets that have organized groups that like to bomb places so that people maybe don't want to go back to work because they're in fear for their lives because they have families at home too. Maybe a mother who has kids that she doesn't, hoping that they'll never lose their mother before they've grown up. That's what terrorism does. And if you don't do anything about it, it grows.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like, again, not even about this, but just as a general rule. It's why I was so confused by Ilhan Omar got attacked so much for saying if you're actually looking for a group that people should be scared of, historically, white men or yeah, in terms of mass shootings, in terms of domestic terrorism, yeah, that's not saying that any individual white man is likely to be a terrorist or anything like that. It's just that, if there's gonna be a narrative that's the one that's founded in reality, but it is convenient to pretend that it's some other group, any other group, literally any other migrants, whatever, random trans people, gay second grade teacher, whatever. It has to be somebody else. It can't be the people that are actually committing the acts of violence. Anyway, again, thankfully, this could have been a lot worse and was not. So take that as a win. But the website wasn't frequented by only one person. And so a lot of concern going forward, and I agree. I would be worried if I was in another place or if I wanted to use it, and I don't want people to be in that position.